Hello, Macey.
Hi, Dr. Foss.
Thanks for being on the show here today. Whatever the show is called, I still haven't come up with a name.
That's okay. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's going to be good times today. We got so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much to talk about. So just to give you a little background with the lovely and talented Miss Macey Merlak. She, if you don't know, which maybe hundreds of thousands of you already do, isn't that right? Or 100,000 or what is
Almost 200,000 followers on Instagram.
What?
I'm close. Yeah.
That is insta-famous.
In like a very small subset niche of people maybe, but
that's the best subset of people to have. Is very niche, because I have the same niche with the people that, follow family pediatric-based chiropractic and looking things for their kiddos to get off of the, medical merry-go-round. So it's kind of what we'll be talking about a little bit today, your experience and what you do to have almost 200,000 followers. So Macey Merlak is I keep saying your last name. People won't forget now your last name.
There you go.
But with Miss Macey here, you are a micro
bakery owner.
Yes. LittlePearlBreads.
Yes.
Who makes the most delicious organic sourdough bread on the planet.
Oh, thank you.
It's incredible.
Thank you.
I feel so like you just fell into my world. Yeah, you just gave us a call one day and said, help me out a little bit.
Just a little over a year ago.
Was it only that long ago? It seems like forever since I've
I
known
know.
you. Like
I
we're
know.
like long lost best friends.
I know. So sweet.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your bakery, how you got into it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yes. So I started my sourdough micro bakery in April of 2023. And
200,000 by...
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So life has changed very drastically for me in the past 2 years. Before I was running my bakery, I was working as a graphic designer. I had a 6-month-old baby and a 1.5-year-old, right? So it was a very busy season of life. But in January of 2023, backing up a little bit more, I had decided that year that my New Year's resolution was that I wanted to try to bake all of our bread from scratch for the whole year. I didn't want to buy any bread from the grocery store. And I had already known how to bake sourdough bread before that. I've always loved baking. So it wasn't like I was learning a completely new skill, but I just wanted to do it more. So I started doing that. And the more that I baked, I wanted to bake more. And I was like, I wonder if maybe a few people on my street would want to buy a loaf of bread from me each week. And at that point, the concept of a micro bakery was not really a fleshed out idea yet. There were no content creators really, like maybe 2 or 3 on social media kind of sharing this idea. So I really was kind of just trying something out without really knowing what I was doing. But I threw out a few social media posts and some local Facebook groups and stuff like that. And I was bombarded with orders.
You went what I call that is ready, shoot, aim.
Yeah. It was absolutely tapping into an unmet need that I didn't even know existed. There were no fresh bread bakeries in my area at all, right? And so this concept was just really on fire. People loved it, and I went from baking 5 loaves of bread a week to 10 to 20 to 50 to 100, all within 6 months. Wow. And 3 months after I started my bakery, so I started it in April. And I say started my bakery, it was really kind of an accident. I wasn't trying to start a whole business, but my husband likes to joke that I am a professional at monetizing my hobbies, and I don't really know how to do anything without going all the way. And so
all in.
Ian's like, "You're not starting a business, are you?" And I'm like, "No," as I'm designing a logo. I'm like, "Don't look at my screen. It's none of your business." But, it all worked out in the end. So, 3 months in, so in July of 23, I bought a $9,000 bread oven. So I was like,
you're in.
I'm in.
You're all in.
I was in. And the Lord just continued to bless it. Yeah, and it grew and it thrived. And simultaneously, I started my social media page, my Instagram account, in April of 23 as well. So I did it right at the same time. And I had no intention of, trying to be an influencer or anything like that. I was just sharing what I was doing. And because the concept of a micro bakery didn't really exist yet, but was like, it was right before this big boom of people who wanted to do the exact same thing as me. That's why my page grew so quickly. I gained 100,000 followers in like 6 months, like in less than a year.
Wow.
So it grew rapidly, and my business has continued to evolve since then. And I'm doing lots of other cool, exciting things now outside of the bakery. And actually, like, I scaled the bakery up and was baking like crazy, selling like at least $2,000 in baked goods a week. And I've actually scaled it back now. And so I'm baking less and focusing on some new ventures. But yeah, so that's like the past 2 years of my life. Meanwhile, taking care of my family, my 2 little girls, and all the fun stuff.
Husband.
Yes, and my lovely husband, who Ian, is the best.
I think this goes takes a page out of, you don't have to have everything perfect yet to start something.
Yes.
And a lot of times when people are trying to go out there and take on a new adventure, and I'm speaking from my own like mindset, is that you try to have everything just right and perfect before you start, and then you're waiting and you never take the action.
Right.
Where again, it kind of goes back to that ready, shoot, aim. It's like, just get going, take some action. You don't have to have it all figured out yet.
And I think that problem is perpetuated by the world of Google and Amazon and social media. It's easy to find somebody to tell you exactly what to do. And I think part of the beauty of what I did and why it was successful was because I was figuring it out by myself. There is so much value in jumping into something and just figuring it out on your own. You don't need to buy a book on like how to do it. You don't need to research till you're blue in the face, till you know every bit of information before you jump in. Sometimes you just have to like do it and figure it out, make mistakes along the way, adjust. And I think that in business, most entrepreneurs learn that lesson because those are the successful people, the ones who just jump in.
Yeah. And today they call that FAFO.
What's that mean?
Fool around and find out.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's the family
That's good.
version.
There you go. I like it.
Eric, where you're like, whoa, tap the brakes. You just got to fool around. You fool around a little bit and you find out, you experiment.
Yes.
And that's your best. And having the experience then propels you to keep on making changes, and you adapt and you evolve. And that's exactly where you're at these days.
Yep.
That's cool. So I found you then. When was it? A year ago. So it's 2023. There was just
I found you.
We found each other.
There you go.
Yeah, and that was just months into.
It was like a year in. So we were previously living in Aurora, Illinois, moved to Sugar Grove because my business had expanded. Our house in Aurora, it was like 1,200 square feet. It was tiny. I was running this massive bakery production out of our dining room, and I would literally have to carry like 100 loaves of bread down into my basement to put it in the fridge down there, back up the next morning to bake them. It was physically exhausting, and I needed to hire help, but our house was too small for another person. I was like, if another person's in this space, I'm going to lose my mind. So I was like, we either need to like scale back and stop, or we need to like keep pushing forward and move to a bigger space.
Well, from what I know about you, Macey, you don't scale back or slow down or stop.
Yes.
You go bigger.
Yes.
You figure it out.
My gracious husband is so supportive of me. He's the perfect match for me because he is so even keel, and I'm the one that always has the big ideas and the dreams. And I'm like, what if we just like went to Europe for 3 months? And like, I'm like, I'm doing all these things in my brain, and he's like, slow down. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe we should.
You got to tell me how you handle that situation, because I got lots of big ideas too, and my lovely bride is the one that's like, maybe not so much. For instance, I was at your place the other month, right, picking up some bread, and you have this amazing place in your backyard. There's like this putting green, right? And you're like, oh, well, we bought the place and it was just here, but also the not putting green, but it's like a miniature golf course.
Yeah.
Not
in the
just
backyard.
a putting green, several putting greens. And then the beauty is the saltwater pool that was there.
Yes.
Because I want to get a saltwater pool too for our house.
Okay.
Right off our patio, which is now a patio that is a patio that used to be a barn that burnt down. So I've had a lot going on with my life too in the past few years, but this isn't about me today. But anyway, so there's this great patio that I think looks like a nice pool deck as well. And off this patio pool deck, I want to put a saltwater pool there because also it's very healing.
Yes.
It's salt water. It's not chlorine.
Right.
So tell me, for my lovely wife, Jamie, how easy is it to take care of this?
I don't want Jamie to hate me. I'm treading carefully here.
Yeah, I know.
In all fairness, I don't take care of the pool. So maybe you should talk to Ian about it. However, I will say it's pretty easy. I don't know. Like you don't have to add chemicals to it, like almost ever. You do have to like shock it from time to time, but like it's way easier than a chlorine pool.
Is it salt shock?
Nope. This is not my line of expertise, unfortunately.
We used to have a pool in the house that we lived in like 10 years ago when we lived in Elgin. There was above ground pool and it was underneath this massive tree. So there was cleaning it all the time. There was changing the filters. There was the chemicals. There was all the stuff.
Yeah.
And there was the covering it and there was the winterizing. There was all the stuff that went along with it. And she has that in her mind as all of that would have to be involved with taking care of it. And I'm like, no, it's really easy. Hire it.
Are you going to take care of it?
No.
Yeah.
But I know people who can.
Yeah, there you go.
Find somebody who can. You jump in and then you figure it out, right? Yeah.
Okay, you're really applying my advice to your personal gain right now.
Yeah. We should probably turn the page on that one. So, also then when we found each other, I was into really not eating any bread whatsoever because I thought that bread, we'll just say regular bread. I was very much minimizing any kind of carbohydrate, grain, if you will. And it wasn't until I discovered a little bit, and I'd heard about sourdough bread and that it was, fermented and these things, but it's still just I still had enough like programmed, we'll just say fear or whatever of, grains. Since I have these an autoimmune condition, if y'all haven't realized, I don't have any hair. It's a horrible joke. I mean, that's so dry. But, it's one of those things where my immune system decided that, it didn't like my hair anymore. So for many years, I had gone down, all the functional things as to how to help reverse autoimmune and this, that, and the other. And when I did do no breads, no grains, no dairy for other things got lots better. Skin, nails, but I never grew all that much more hair back.
Sure.
And then I started, thinking that, all right, well, there's some other things going on, and maybe all bread isn't so bad. And then we met, and I was like, and then I started discovering the benefits, and that I don't want to say benefits, that there isn't. If you have the right ingredients and the right kind of material, that it's not going to be so bad for your gut. So if you've eliminated things for a while and your gut is now had a chance to heal and whatever the lining, leaky gut issues, and you take care of those things, then you can add some things back. But when you add them back, just make sure that they're quality so they're not poisoning you and causing more gut disruption and gut lining problems. So if you're not bringing those things back in, by all means, enjoy them.
Yeah.
So it's just like everything else. It's not the eggs that are bad. It's not the meat that is bad. It's not even the dairy that's bad. It's the grains that's bad. It's what we've done to them, how we've processed them, how we've genetically modified them, how we've turned them into frankenfood and pseudo food for your body by God that is designed for real life, natural, wholesome, whole, clean food.
And what I think the real root of the problem is that as humans, we've gone so far from, I think, the way that we were intended to eat in the first place. And so anytime I teach a sourdough class, I always love to see people's faces when I kind of remind people of this. But the reality is that up until like 100 years ago, commercial yeast did not exist. All bread was sourdough bread.
All right.
You weren't buying like packets of yeast at the grocery store. And sourdough is the way that bread has been made for all of time, up until really the last 100, 200 years. And that just goes to show you how when eating the way that things were designed to be eaten, it genuinely affects the way that your body processes it.
Right. Another thing goes with that is raw milk.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So,
and the ecosystem of food is so disrupted in our current society. You have to go out of your way to make better choices for food. For example, we eat pretty much only fermented grains in my home. If there's going to be bread or some sort of bread product, I've probably made it myself, and it was made with sourdough starter so that it's fermented grain. We drive to a farm 20 minutes away to buy all of our dairy products every week. I have to go out of my way to get these separate foods. But I also know that it's so worth it for our family, and we've felt and seen the effects of eating that way and focusing on the food that we put in our bodies and sacrificing our time and even money to eat that way. Because food is life. It genuinely impacts the way that you live and the way that you feel, and it feels very worth it for us.
Yeah, you either pay for your medicine like food, we'll call it food as medicine. You either pay for your food now or you pay for your medications later.
Right.
You really do have a choice. And this isn't funny that in today's culture, especially in Illinois specifically, or Colorado, or any of those other states, that you can go to a store and buy cannabis legally now, but you have to go to the black market on a farm
to get raw milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get on the back of a truck and then you have to hide it under your jacket.
In all fairness, the raw milk discussion is an interesting one, because the reason that milk began the process of pasteurization in the first place is because it needed to be mass produced. And it is true that if you're mass producing raw dairy, the chance for something to go wrong and for somebody to get sick is higher.
Sure.
But when you're getting small batch dairy from a local farm that is only producing enough for its local radius, you're good to go. That's safe. Their cleanliness practices are so top notch. But so there is that breakdown where, like, if you need to mass produce milk, I understand why pasteurization exists now. Sure. But, how do you fix that ecosystem of food? Not everybody wants to drive 20 minutes to their farmer to pick up their milk every week.
Right.
So again, it's just that disruption of, I think, the way that people were supposed to be eating. And I don't really know what the solution is, other than doing what I'm doing and going out of your way and making it a priority on your own.
Yeah, you talk about pasture. So maybe we're going off another tangent, but I have to. So pasteurization, right? Louis Pasteur is the name that pasteurization comes from. And Louis Pasteur was the grandfather of what's called the germ theory of disease.
Right.
And the germ theory of disease is not only one of the most outdated, inaccurate theories of how one gets sick. It's also outdated and inaccurate is on its best day, being friendly. Just almost a lie is almost then on its worst day, because the truth of the matter is if viruses and bacteria and these pathogens actually cause us to be sick, we'd all be sick all the time, because there's bacteria and viruses around everywhere. Our body's made of them. We have them in our microbiome, billions of bacteria, trillions of viruses that make up our microbiome that work synergistically with our immune system and with our body to build robust health and a strong immune response and all of these things. And Louis Pasteur based all of this stuff on his experiments that he did, where it's like he had this raw meat, and then he left it out, and he had one that was just left out, and one that was raw meat that was in this like gooseneck bottle, and he found out that the one that was just left out got rancid faster than the one that was in the gooseneck bottle, because then the germs that were invisible and everywhere were landing on the ones that were just on the table, but because of the gooseneck, they couldn't go through. Anyway, it's crazy how the whole experiment, and then we built this whole mega healthcare system based on this Louis Pasteur and his germ theory of disease, and then this other guy by the name of Bechamp, I think his name was. Okay. He was the one that said, he was terrain theory. So he had terrain theory of how people got sick, and then the germ theory of how people got sick. And the terrain theory, Bechamp said, is that no, it's not about the germs, it's about the environment of the host. And so Pasteur and Bechamp or whatever his name was, kind of went head to head. And on his deathbed, Pasteur said, "Gosh, Bechamp, you were right."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then the whole germ theory of disease and pasteurization and all this also then leads to the vaccination debate, because then once you start understanding it's not all these pathogens you have to worry about, but it's the health of the host. But if you're scared of all the germs, then you're going to also then buy into this whole medical
Yes. Well, it's easier
paradigm.
to blame shift to an outside entity
Yeah.
rather than saying that maybe it's my body.
Yeah, like we earned it versus we caught it. And that's another. That's one of the things I'll express to the patients, to our patients, and they love this when they say, "I caught a cold." I said, "No, you didn't. You earned it." And they're like, "You're a jerk." But, and I was like, "Well, it's the 3 T's we talk about, or the 3 kinds of stressors: emotional stressors, chemical stressors, physical stressors." So it's not flu season. It's called sugar, alcohol, party poisoning season from the
no sunlight.
Yeah, so from October till February, we get less sunlight, less vitamin D, less fresh air, and we start the season with Halloween and sugar, and then we move on to pie season, Thanksgiving, and then we move on to cookies and cake and fudge season for the whole month of December, and then we cap it off with this awesome Christmas event, which is filled with more cake and or pie and cookies and whatever, and then that leads to New Year's, which is parties and this, that, and the other, and we have this huge, toxic influx of sugar and alcohol and all the things and stress from the holiday seasons, and we say, it's probably because of those pesky old viruses. When we're really, if we spent more time building our health with some decent food and some, maybe some chiropractic adjustments and some, focusing on what builds health and resilience versus just going out there all willy-nilly and kind of doing what everybody else does and saying, oh, just, shoot, I caught this cold.
Yep.
Anyway, that puts the responsibility back on us, and I guess that's not quite as fun, I guess.
Right.
Back to baking.
Yeah, we went down that rabbit hole as far as we could.
Well, you know what? Actually, not quite back to baking yet. We met a little over a year ago because your daughter, Margot, can I say her name? Oh, gosh, should we mute that out?
I don't care.
All right.
Yeah.
Your daughter was having some eczema issues.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Margot's my oldest, and she developed eczema pretty early in her life. And it's one of those things where, I would have made different choices if I had known better, but I didn't, and so you give yourself grace and you move on. But when she was around 1 year old, she had back-to-back ear infections, and I gave her antibiotics. She had to go on 2 rounds of antibiotics, and ever since then, she has struggled with eczema. And it was truly because just her gut was destroyed after those 2 rounds of antibiotics, and it took me a little while to figure that out, but it got pretty severe. And this was before I even knew you. I was doing my research. I was taking her to the doctor, and I was just really unhappy with the options that my doctor was giving me. I love our pediatrician, but she, sent us to a dermatologist, and I left that dermatology appointment just crying. Because I felt like I wasn't being listened to. She told me to give her a bleach bath and then put her on topical steroids. And I was like, no, tell me why she has eczema. Tell me why. I want to know what's causing this. This is not normal. A normal body doesn't function this way. I don't want to just slap a cream on it and then move forward because she doesn't need to be on that cream for the rest of her life. I knew that that was the wrong choice. But it was an incredibly heartbreaking thing as a mom because it's horrible to see your child in pain or discomfort and to know that there is something I could do to take the pain away quickly, right? Like I could have just put that cream on her and it would have gone away.
But it's like spray painting rust.
Right. And I knew that that's not what I wanted for her. And it was even difficult. Our extended family has always been very supportive of our parenting choices and never overstepped. But I could tell that there were like some people that were maybe like, why are you not listening to the doctor? Right. Like, why would, experts. Right. Like, why would you not just like take it away if you know that you could kind of thing, But at that point, I realized that the only person that could help her was me. I was like, I'm not going to get the answer that I need.
I think that's the aha that people
Yes.
have to come to, is that this answer that we're getting from the medical world, the pediatricians, the MDs, the psychologists, the whomever, whatever kind of condition that you have, there isn't just this one way.
Yes.
That there are experts in other fields that can give you a different way.
Yes.
And what I find is that most people want this different way, but as a knee-jerk reaction, because of how we've been trained, programmed in our culture, we always go route A first, because that's just how we're...
And it's because it's easier, right? Going the alternate route is harder.
It can be.
There are even people in my personal life where I'm like, if you would just put in the work and maybe do the hard thing, you'd see some results, but right?
And I think it's only harder because it's breaking pattern.
Yes.
Because once you break the pattern and you develop a new pattern, it's easier.
Yes.
And then this other way is harder. So the actual doing part of it, the actual doing something different, the different thing isn't so hard. It's the changing the mindset that's the hardest thing to do.
Yes. So for Margot, I quickly realized that her eczema was tied with seasonal allergies. So a lot of kids have eczema flare-ups like in the winter during the dry, cold months. Margot does not. Her eczema is like gone in the wintertime. For Margot, it was like spring, summer, fall, like at those like peak transition times of the year. And I just focused in on her gut health. I did natural supplements to get her allergy issues under control. And after a few months, I was able to completely clear her eczema almost the entire way, except for one spot. And that's when I started seeing you. There was one spot by her mouth, which is such a tricky spot to treat eczema because I couldn't even put lotion on it, right? And you're eating and you're drinking and she's a toddler. And like, it's just like constantly getting irritated. And I could never get that spot to go away for her. And probably like 3 weeks into seeing you, it was gone.
Yeah.
And we've been able to maintain it ever since, right? And she's had flare-ups, but I think that is, her burden to bear in life for now at least.
The flare-ups come from growth spurts and different, there's
being sick. Like if she gets a cold, it's likely going to flare up her eczema, right? So like it's just maintaining her health in general has hugely impacted her.
So there's a common thread with all of that, with gut health, with immune system regulation, and the common thread behind gut health and immune system function, behind both of those things, is the autonomic nervous system.
Right.
And the big part of that autonomic nervous system is the thing called the vagus nerve. And it's the vagus nerve that exits the top of the spine here in the brainstem that is the brain-gut connection. So everybody talks about, gut health and how that affects your immune system and nervous system. And it's true because the gut is the second brain. However, what kind of gets left out in the mainstream discussion is, the brain. The underlying foundational component to all of it. And that's where the part where like chiropractic comes flying in.
Right.
Is it saying, yes, let's be aware of the gut health because that influences skin and the immune system.
Yes.
So we have the skin, the immune system, and then the nervous system, which are all three kind of bound together and they kind of weave in and out. But the queen bee, if you will, is the nervous system. And if you have nerve system dysregulation and there's, misalignments up here at this atlas bone, which is going to affect the vagus nerve, then that's going to bring in decreased healing to the gut. It's also going to create more inflammation regulate. Like if the vagus nerve isn't firing properly, even if we have the cleanest of diets, let's say something does come in, that's going to fire inflammation right away. But the better the nerve, the vagus nerve is firing, the more it keeps that inflammation at bay. And then the vagus nerve also controls the immune response. So when you're saying that, Margot had the allergies and then that would coincide with the eczema, I'm like, yes, because there's the thing that connects them both, and that's the vagal tone.
And the other thing that I was told by multiple doctors when I was first trying to figure out how to help Margot was cut out dairy, cut out gluten. And I was like, I don't want to do that because I know that's not the cause.
Right.
It might actually help her skin if I cut those things out. But I also know that when you cut foods out, it can create intolerances. And so I didn't want to cut foods out of her diet that I knew weren't actually the root cause of her issue. I knew it was her gut and I knew it was allergy related and I wanted to focus on those things. I felt like cutting out dairy and gluten was just another Band-Aid over top of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually going to help her long term because I knew that that wasn't the cause of it.
Yeah. You ready for this? This is how we get pull it full circle with pasteurization. So just like Louis Pasteur says that it's germs and viruses that cause the thing, not really. It's the resistance. It's the environment of the inside, how much strength the inside has to resist or to be able to adapt.
Yes.
And so getting rid of all the viruses and bacteria, it's kind of a short-term fix. Getting rid of all the gluten and the dairy, it's kind of a short-term fix.
Right.
You're not putting gas on the fire, but that's really focused on extinguishing that fire to begin with. And that's where then the chiropractic comes in because it says, all right, let's make your resilience, your resistance higher. Let's make your adaptability higher so that you can have these things. If we improve your healing by getting better tone and power flowing through the vagus nerve, now your body's resistance is higher.
Right.
Your inflammation goes down. Your immune system comes back into balance. And so now during, say, allergy times, your nervous system, your body can adapt to those environmental stressors, and then you won't have the flare-ups.
Right.
It's magic.
I know.
Yeah. So now, all right, now back to baking.
Okay.
So baking, you're now scaling back, and you went on this amazing trip to, was it Italy?
Yes, I was just in Italy.
Tell me about that and what insights you had with that, because when you came back, I think you started shifting things a bit more. Maybe you were already planning on shifting some things, scaling back. But what happened out in Italy? What'd you learn out there, and how are you bringing those things back?
Yeah. This whole past year was a huge transition year for me and my business. I started making the majority of my income from social media. There was kind of a switch that happened, and I brought people onto my team and an agent and stuff like that. That really kind of transformed the work that I was doing.
So how were you capitalizing on the social media versus the baking? What part of it?
It started with releasing an ebook. I released an ebook maybe 6 months after I started my bakery. Like, it was really soon after, and it was very successful. It's generated over $100,000 in sales since I released it. So it was just really successful for me. And from there, I just kept pouring into the social media side of things and kind of saw this long-term vision for it because although I love baking and I love my bakery, I also saw an expiration date on it.
It's a lot.
For various reasons.
Time.
Number one, it's exhausting, right? It was really starting to take a toll on my body physically, waking up at 3 a.m. multiple times throughout the week and all of that work. While also, like, I am a full-time stay-at-home mother. So, like, I'm doing this with my kids at home. Like, I never had childcare by choice because my whole point in doing this was that I wanted to stay home with my kids, right? And it worked for us. It was great and I loved it. But I did see it taking its toll on me. I knew that eventually I wanted to homeschool, and I knew that I would need to, adjust what I was doing for that as well. And so I just knew that there was going to come a point where I couldn't be grinding as hard as I was physically from the bakery. But I saw a lot of long-term potential with building a platform and diversifying my income. And so that was kind of what I focused on all of last year with, creating resources for other bakers, selling my recipe book. I created a guide on how to start a micro bakery and sold that as well. And then also I started working with brands on content, so sponsored content on my social media, which was very lucrative for me, and really kind of leaning into, I really hate calling myself an influencer. It makes me cringe more than anything in the world, but really that is what it is, right? Like sharing.
Maybe you can come up with a new name.
I know. I typically say content creator because that feels better to me.
Sure.
But people get confused. They don't know what that means when I say it. Sometimes they're like, okay, so who do you make content for? And I'm like, me? Like, of myself. that sounds still weird. But Yeah, so sharing affiliate links and kind of diving into that world. And then my biggest new venture is that I brought on a literary agent just a few months ago, this past May. And I spent the whole summer writing 3 book proposals. And I actually just accepted an offer for all 3 of them last weekend.
Congratulations. You heard it here first,
Yeah,
folks.
yes. That actually is I haven't shared that publicly yet. So
Wow, that's fantastic.
yeah. So
What's the book about?
Well, I don't know how much I can share. I'll be kind of vague.
Yeah, you can be vague.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit vague. But there's 3 books. First one will come out in most likely the fall of 2027, so 2 years from now. And I can't say what they are, I don't think. I just don't know if I can say what they are, so I'm going to be vague. The first one will be for people who like to be in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. The second one will be for children or people who have children in their lives.
Okay.
And then the third one will be for the Christian woman.
I love it. That's actually not so
it's
vague.
Yeah,
it's vague enough.
yes,
It gives
yeah.
us an idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. So that is going to change the next 4 years of my life drastically, and I don't even know exactly how it will change things, but I have a manuscript due on June 1st. So I'm going to be writing.
Good luck.
A lot of writing. So that's really exciting, and that was a huge goal for myself because, again, I wanted to build this online platform, but then at the same time, I was really bothered by the fact that my full-time income was completely dependent on Instagram, an app that doesn't know me or care about me. Mm-hmm. And that could be just taken away, right? Like, especially when the whole TikTok thing happened where TikTok was deleted for a little while, there were people who literally lost their full-time incomes because they were full-time TikTok creators. Just gone, vanished. And I was like, that is kind of frightening, right?
It is frightening. I've actually experienced that myself where I was banned from a social media platform because of natural healthcare views that went against the norm.
Crazy.
So I know how that feels.
Yes.
And then trying to build back up and then still and trying to figure out loopholes or going around another way, plan B and it's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all that to say, I have always it really actually started with the children's book. I'll say it's a children's book. One of them is a children's book. And that's where it kind of started for me. It's been such a whirlwind of 6 months for me because just this past April or May, I was at the library with my girls and there was a book on display about sourdough starter. And I was like, how cute is this? So I started reading it and halfway through the book, there were some moral and ethical things in the book that I did not agree with and didn't want to read to my children. And so I was like, okay, well, we need to put this book away. And I was so bummed. And then I kind of had this aha moment. And I was like, there are no faith-based books for children that involve baking or bread or something, which is such a rich theme in the Bible, right? The bread of life. And so I was like, I'm going to write this book. And I literally wrote the book that weekend. Obviously, it's been edited and stuff since then. And now all of a sudden I'm writing 3 books.
Wow, you're inspiring me because I'm like, wow. Maybe I could put together a children's book. I mean, that's kind of my level of reading anyway. It's got to have pictures, not a lot of words per page.
Yeah.
That's, again, another horrible joke. Who wants to go to see a doctor that reads children's books? Anyway. But honestly, because there's not a whole lot of books out there about, what are options for, kiddos. Mm-hmm. I can even just imagine right now a child going to their pediatric chiropractor as their checkups, if you will, and then just creating that as a norm, rather than it being something so different in the book. It could be just well, this is just what we do.
Right. Huh. So all that to say, this year has been a very big year for me. Lots of changes that also led me to go to Italy, which is what your original question was.
Yeah.
My friend Sarah, who also owns a sourdough micro bakery, her and I hosted a group trip in Italy. So basically how it worked was we hosted this trip through an organization that does this with content creators. They partner with content creators to host trips all around the world. And it was open to any women that wanted to join. So we had 16 women going to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. And I was there for 9 days, and I got to see and experience so much. It was such a lovely trip. Europe is always just so special, so special. And you can't experience anything like it in the United States.
I've never been.
You've never been to Europe?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should go.
I know. There's so many things I want to see.
Ian and I went to Paris for our honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
So that was really fun. That was my first European experience. But it is actually a very life-changing thing to experience Europe because it is so historically rich and everything feels so full of life in a way that you cannot find in the United States because everything is so old.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I love about Europe is that I feel like beauty is everywhere in everything that they do, right? Like instead of some ugly metal street sign, they're like painted tiles into the side of these ancient buildings. And like everything's just pretty and intentional and just, it's such a special thing. And not to mention the amount of food that I consumed that week. Oh my word. It was, something special.
And I hear the food in Europe is different than the food in America.
Yes. So I don't have any like food intolerances. I'm not sensitive to gluten or dairy, but my mom is, and my mom was on this trip, and she has sensitivities to both gluten and dairy. In the States, she can drink raw dairy.
We'll just call it American gluten.
Yes,
American
and
dairy.
she can't have gluten in the States unless it's sourdough. But she ate free as a bird all week in Europe and was perfectly fine.
Yep.
And for her, it's a really like clear physical sign because she'll break out like acne on her face in the States when she eats those things, and she was perfectly clear.
There's a couple reasons for that, I think. One is obviously the quality of the food. Second, I've also heard that when people go there and they eat their faces off, that they don't gain weight.
Yeah.
So they eat their faces off. They don't gain 5-10 pounds. They don't get all inflamed.
Granted, I was walking like 30,000 steps a day. I think that's probably why you don't gain as much weight. But
I think because the last thing that I don't think that maybe people think about, but is that the mindset of being. The mindset's different. You're on vacation, kind of have vacation mind. There's more like gratitude. There's more relaxation. There's more like there's not the everyday grind.
Yeah.
And when you're coming from a place of just gratitude and peace and enjoyment, I think your body processes food differently
I
as
believe
well.
that.
So it's not just the chemical stressors.
Yes.
It's the emotional
because
sense.
The dairy that we consumed there was pasteurized. It's not like raw dairy is the standard there. It's not. But still, her body processed it differently than it does in the United States. So I don't know if it's a different pasteurization
It's probably just less
process.
chemicals. Or,
I don't know.
The hormones and all the vaxes and everything.
Yes,
that
that is very true.
It's not and it's also what the cows are eating.
Yes.
So, it's not just the pasteurization, homogenization. It's also how the cows are cared for, what they're eating, what kind of state that they're living in, all of that. And they're probably, the cows over there are, I'm imagining a Swiss Miss commercial out there in the Alps and eating grass, and they're churning their own butter, the cows.
Right. Yes. But the culture in Europe in general, obviously it's different depending on where you are in Europe. But I think that this is probably true of most places in Europe. Is the culture is so different, so much more community based. The food tastes different because it feels like people really care about it. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Would you say just the energy in general is different
completely different.
Yeah.
Not even close to.
Frequency is just like.
Yes, like, you're hugging people you just meet. Somebody might sit down right next to you and start up a conversation. I don't know.
Start talking like this.
Yes, just like it is. No, it's just, more pleasant, more community-based, not as individualistic, I would say.
I think gratitude might be a frequency that's a little more abundant there.
Yes.
Like just, I was watching and studied how your thoughts, emotion, when you're eating, or specifically with water, how water literally like absorbs the attitude that, I don't want to say attitude, the emotion that you're in. So there's this doc, his name's Dr. Emoto, this Japanese doctor that did this research where he held a glass of water and said, "I love you," or "Thank you," or "You're beautiful." And then what he did is after he held that glass, he took a little fragment of that water, put it on a flash froze it, if you will, and looked at it under a microscope, and you would see the most beautiful like snowflake crystalline structures, right? By just saying, I love you to the water. And then he would have another glass of water and you would pick that up and says, I hate you, or you're disgusting, or it's just something vulgar or horrible, right? And he would then freeze that water and you would look under that microscope and you would see like just blobs of
Interesting.
not even close to the same kind of structure as the blessed water, if you will. So that goes a long way to show that your emotions when you're eating and drinking water, whatever you're doing, have a big impact on what's going in. So, so just our mindset when we're eating, and if we have more grateful, hence the whole reason prayer before you eat, right? If you're grateful for the food and for what's on the table in front of you, it's going to be processed into your body so much better. Not only is the food going to have a blessing on it, but then your body itself is in a more calmed, regulated state so that you digest and process the food better. Because when you're always in this constant state of stress, that's stressing your nervous system, that affects your digestive assimilation and how your body even utilizes the food. And in our country, you said right there just a couple minutes ago that just you feel the energy is so much different in Europe. Like the frequency just, it goes down, and you get here in the States and it's more and more, faster. What can I get done? And and all of that.
Yes, so true. But my time there was lovely, and I'm already like trying to figure out how I can go back. So
my wife, the yoga retreats are the same way. I remember my wife when she was in yoga teacher training. Her teacher would have these retreats to Italy, always similar kind of thing, and there would be a handful of people, and then they go and they do their retreat for a week. In Mexico, we actually went to one in Mexico, and it was amazing. We went to this place. It was called Shinalani, and it was in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
So it was on the West Coast. We'd always gone to the Caribbean side, and we went to the West Coast this time, and it was, wow, what an experience. And then it was almost like oh gosh, what was the old show from the 70s? Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
Right? So Gilligan's Island, they had these huts that were made of like bamboo and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So this place was like very eco-chic like that.
Okay.
And it was literally this yoga retreat.
Yeah, like that.
That's, well, I didn't come up with it, sorry. But it was literally this retreat was built out of the mountainside.
Okay.
And there was hundreds of stairs that you would go up to your eco-chic, hut that looked out over on top of this mountain, on the mountain, edge face, built into the mountain, these little bamboo hut type things. And then you would look out into the port, into this beautiful ocean. And then down the stairs was, all the different, you would have the place where you would eat. So the whatever, that was like the center place. And they had a chef there that they would make your food for you to, however you liked it. It was amazing.
That's lovely.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you doing your next bread thing out there?
I don't know.
Maybe you should
We'll
do.
see.
Maybe you could do one in Puerto Vallarta.
Right. There you go. Who knows? Yeah. I would love to do something like that again. Such a rich experience. Got to do and see so many cool things. I got to swim in volcanic hot springs.
Oh yeah.
We were like driving up these mountains and Positano, like similar, like it was like a city built into the cliffside with all of the bright colors. Everything was just so bright there. Yeah, full of life. So good.
Oh yeah, the springs, the hot springs, the volcanic. There's like sulfur and everything in that. And when you soak in it, you absorb all of these minerals from the earth. And they used to have those in the States a lot more. They have a handful of them now.
Yeah.
But I remember looking at pictures from like the 1800s, and there's all of these baths and hot springs in these pictures. And I'm like, wow, they really knew what they were doing back then.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've got this new chapter. You're going to be making 3 different books. You're scaling back on the baking, but still you've got you're a go-getter. How do you manage all of that? So you'll still be baking. It'll be smaller. You're doing the books. You're influencing on social media. You've got a big following, and you're a stand-up, knockout, amazing mom. How do you do all of it?
The first thing I'll say is that I believe that God gives each individual person a different capacity. And it can be really tempting for people to see the way that I live and think like, why can't I do that? Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I handle all those things?
Comparison is the thief of all joy.
And I have been just given a high capacity. I'm a high capacity person. I function well with a lot of things on my plate. That is not for everybody. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just how God created you. And so something that I have always just tried to stay consistent with is submitting myself to whatever capacity God has given me. And so I hold things with a very open hand and view everything as mendable, changeable, moldable to whatever I need it to be at the time. So like I said, I started my bakery from the very beginning because I wanted to stay home with my girls still, and I wanted to do something creative. God made me a creative person and an entrepreneur. Like I said earlier, this isn't even the first business I've ever done before, right? Like I've
what
always
was your first business?
I did wedding calligraphy and stationery design, like custom stationery. So I was in graphic design. So this is just how I've always been, right? Like I always have an idea going on in my brain. But I wanted to be home with my kids. So that is my priority. There's like a hierarchy of things in my life, and I constantly remind myself of those things and even regularly write it down physically on a list to ingrain it into my brain more. And so number one priority always is my relationship with God, my church family, investing into that part of our lives, my personal walk with the Lord, my walk with the Lord in community with other Christians. Second priority is my husband. He is number two always. And we prioritize our marriage so intentionally. We view it as the most sacred part of our home. Third is my children. They are the light of my life, and they will always be there. It is God, my husband, then my children, because my children can only be blessed if they have a mother and a father who love one another properly, right? So that's the ecosystem. Then everything else trickles underneath that, right?
You put the big rocks in first.
Yes, and my business isn't even fourth, right? Next would be like my extended family, then my friends, like those are also more important to me than my business. And I think that for a lot of entrepreneurs, the tendency is to just dive in and nothing else matters except for success in the business. And you will lose yourself so quick if you fall into that pattern, right? So that I just wanted to preface everything with that. Then there comes the element of self-discipline, right? Like I am, I think, probably a more naturally disciplined person, but doing all the things that I do, I have to be disciplined, right? So that means I wake up early every day before my children, and I start I have my morning routine. I do the same thing every single day, right? I get myself ready. I drink my coffee. I read my Bible. And typically I'll have, like 30 minutes or an hour to work a little bit before my kids wake up for the day. Then they're up and I'm on mom mode, right? The other benefit of how I balance all of these things is I have a husband who views our life together as a partnership. We're a team. We work together in all things. My husband works from home. So that is a huge thing for me. Every afternoon, he takes his hour-long lunch break at a specific time so that I can have time to work in my office. And so he'll have them for a little bit. Then we always make our girls do a quiet time. So they go and play in their room while I work. And that's kind of how we function.
Wow, you are such an inspiration. You are giving me right now so many. I'm jotting them down in my mind. I'm like, wow, I need to work on that. And I need to work on that. So...
Yeah.
Wow.
We've instilled quiet time in our children from the very beginning. So still, every afternoon, my girls do an hour and a half or even 2 hours sometimes playing in the room together. And I really do my best to not do any work while I'm with them during the day. Not perfectly, right? And they understand what I do, right? And a lot of my work is integrated with my life, right? So if I'm filming a recipe, I can make food and I'm just filming myself and they're around me, right? So it's
That's
not always
the human element of it too. So that actually is it's cooler.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of my work can be integrated into everyday life. So having my husband's support my husband views what I do as my full-time job. He doesn't view it as like some little side hustle or like my fun little creative hobby. Like he understands that this is my passion. This is my business. This is our livelihood. And so he supports me in that. You know, he helps around the house and like we work together as a team in all things.
The pool?
Oh yeah.
Ah, there it is.
Oh yeah.
That's the pool
Listen,
cleaner.
Ian does a lot. We're going to give him a shout out right now. Okay. Ian does all the dishes in our house.
All right.
Ian does the laundry. Yeah. I know.
Ian.
He's so good.
I can't wait to share this with my wife. And she's
She's going to be like, so.
I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So yes, he is helping me tremendously. I could not do it without him. And he believes in me and he's proud of me. And so we make it happen. And that's kind of how we function. I feel like for a while, like especially in the early days of the bakery, I was working actually more than I am now because I was getting it started, right? Like gung-ho, right? Like foot on the gas pedal, right? Like I was working a lot after the girls would go to sleep at night and it was a lot of work. And now I've kind of gotten it to the spot where we have really clear rhythms. We have kind of our routine. I have time for myself again, right? Like I read so much. That's kind of like my hobby. I have time for that. I have time to spend with my friends. And we've kind of fallen into this sweet spot of, busy, crazy, but also enjoyable. Like we're having fun.
Man.
So.
Wow. I'm so grateful for having met you. This is, wow. You've really, it's like a highlight of I'm going to say highlight of my life, but that's pretty deep. But honestly, the last few years, you are by far and away a highlight of somebody that has inspired me to help me to make me want to observe things that I could be doing differently, not only in business, but my spiritual life as well, and how I could prioritize things differently to get more happiness and more fulfillment out of my life. And you are such a lamplighter for not only for myself, but for so many people out there. I thank you so much for being here, sharing a bit about yourself. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Foss.
You're so welcome.